I genuinely have to do that now. What is up guys, Luke Michael James here, welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for being here and joining me. We're finally getting to reviews, something I've been wanting to do for ages, and I've been just obviously sorting out this room, getting it all ready. Still not quite finished, but we're really close to having the office finished, so it's time to get stuck in. I did promise that after a good few weeks use I would be giving a full review of the Tamron 17-28mm f2.8 zoom lens, and yeah, today's your lucky day. Here it is. I wanted to just quickly go over a few things about the build quality because I addressed that in the first impressions video, and I have a bit of an update on that, and then just to go into a little bit of the pros and the cons of the lens and my overall thoughts on whether you should buy it and add it to your collection. So yeah, let's dive into it. First thing that I want to mention is what I said in my first impressions video. The build quality when I first got this out of the box was a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest. It didn't feel like a G Master lens. I wasn't expecting it to, but the reviews I watched said it was a little bit cheap feeling, or cheaper. I now agree with those people. It does definitely feel cheaper, and this is a little bit more plasticky. One of the main examples of this is the lens cap. I mean, it doesn't fall off, but you can see, I mean, well, I say that, it just fell off. The lens cap doesn't have a lot of friction, even on the back of the lens, so there's a very little amount of resistance. It's like from there to there, and that's it. So it doesn't really fill you with confidence that it's going to stay on there. Now, when you take the body cap for the A7 III and put that inside here, there is pretty much no resistance at all. And a few times I've had the body cap fall out of this cap and I've ended up nearly losing things because of it. When you have the body cap and the lens cap from the Sony native glass, those really tightly screw together, and you know that you're never going to lose anything. It sticks together like a little Oreo when you put it in your bag and you are safe and sound. This, not so much, so that is something I'm not too keen on. Saying that though, there are tons of positives for this lens, so let's get into them. Firstly, image quality. Image quality on this lens is incredible for the price, really. In my opinion, looking at my photos compared to even the G Master, I can see more details in certain parts of those photographs that I couldn't see in the primes I was using. Maybe because I was shooting wide open on the 1.4, so that's going to soften things up a little bit. Shooting at 2.8 at this still gives an incredibly shallow depth of field, but the detail and the contrast as well is just phenomenal. I took it out when I first got it around the lake and I shot some close-ups with this, and I'll put some examples of those over the top of this as I'm speaking, and you can see the detail in the branches here. The detail is just absolutely amazing, and the same for the rest of these photographs. The detail's fantastic, so I'm very impressed with that. That sort of leads into the second thing that I love about this lens, and it's the focus distance. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's almost like a macro lens. You can get so close to the subject that you're shooting, and the detail and sharpness that it keeps even at that distance, I've never ever been able to do that with any other lens, so that is a massive bonus for the 17-28. Third thing I like, the weight. It's not too heavy. The element zooms internally, but you can balance this at say 22 or 23mm on a gimbal, and then you can still go all the way out to 17 or all the way cropped into 28, and the balance is not affected, even on a Ronin SC, and that's the smaller of the two Ronin S gimbals, and I use the SC, and the balance was absolutely fine. Really handy to be able to use that on a gimbal when you can, if you just want to crop in a little bit, because getting that thing balanced is it can be a nightmare as it is. So being able to just go and just tightly grip over the lens so you're not making the gimbal go everywhere, but then crop in, crop out. Really handy. Well done, Tamron. Fourth thing, the autofocus is pretty much as good as the Sony primes I used. It's not quite, I'd say it's probably 95% of the speed is still there with the Tamron, and I was expecting a noticeable difference, to be honest. It isn't noticeable at all, even with eye tracking, that is still working about 90% as good as the Sony lenses do. So again, another really positive thing. It doesn't make me feel like I'm having to slow my work down because the equipment's holding me up. It really doesn't do that, so well done, Tamron. One last little point that I just wanted to go over. This lens is weather sealed, and I don't think any of the Sony lenses I had were weather sealed, apart from the 24G Master, but that thing cost me £1,500. This is half that price pretty much, so yeah, a nice little touch. Wasn't expecting it at all, and even at the front I believe that has weather sealing as well. Obviously it doesn't make a difference if you're using a filter on the front of it anyway, but the weather sealing is really impressive. A couple of things I'm not so keen on with this lens. The manual focus. Kind of strange because the autofocus is absolutely awesome, but the manual focus I found wasn't very consistent. I set up a static shot on for a video, and I wanted to just pull focus from one point to another, and the focus itself would be really inconsistent. Sometimes it would be really aggressive and quick, and other times it would just focus forever and it wouldn't be moving anywhere. I don't know if that's an issue with the lens as like an actual fault, or if it's a focus by wire problem, but I think all of the lenses I have are focused by wire, and I haven't found that problem with any of the Sony ones, and they've all been really smooth. Each area on the focus ring is an exact point. This doesn't feel like it feels a bit elasticy, if that makes sense, so that's not such a good thing. Apart from that though, and the lens cap, the really annoying lens cap problem, this lens is absolutely fantastic. I would definitely recommend, if you need a wide angle zoom, you should definitely pick this up over a G Master for the price. I'm not saying it's better than a G Master, I'm not saying that you'll get better results, but you'll probably be able to buy this, the 28-75, and a whole host of other little goodies to throw in your camera bag for the same price. So in my opinion, this lens is an absolute no-brainer. Buy it. A few of you may be thinking, well, are you sure to buy it, Luke? What about the fact that it's a 17-28 and not a 16-35? Does that really make a huge amount of difference? Well, I came from a background of having all primes. The widest I had is a 24, which is what I'm shooting this video on now. So when I go to 17, it's still a luxury, and it still feels like it's more than I need. There is a difference between the 17mm and the 16mm, and it is a little bit more dramatic than what you think by it just being 1mm. Here's a couple of steps. In reality, you would have to stand a couple of steps further back in order to get all of that in at 17mm rather than you would at 16. So if you're shooting small houses for selling a house or something, or anything in a really small environment, then maybe you would wish you had a little bit more. I think to the average photographer, the fact that it's a 17-28 and not a 16-35 isn't actually a problem. And to those who haven't really shot wide angle zooms before anyway, it's definitely not an issue. I don't think 17 is still plenty wide enough. Just bear in mind that those couple of steps can sometimes make the difference if you're in a real tight spot, but I personally have not needed that since I started doing this. So just my opinion and my experience, but maybe it's something to go off. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you've got the 17-28mm, and if there are things that I've maybe not covered in here that you really like about the lens, let me know. And the same for if there's certain things that I haven't covered that maybe you've encountered problems with the lens, or things you don't like. Give me your opinions, let me know down in the comments, let's start a conversation going. As always guys, if you've liked today's video, please smash that thumbs up button, it really does help. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and hit that bell notification so you can see every time I upload. Until then though guys, take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, enjoy life, don't get coronavirus because, man, it's all that everyone's talking about at the moment. Stay well, stay healthy, be nice to each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.